Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zip here, bringing you some more crypto news. Tonight, we're going to jump into some SHX information and news that's coming out. Another one of those great utility tokens, a sleeper out there that I love to hold. We're going to talk about some XRP information, as well as the big macro picture, as always, with some information coming out about crypto assets and where the future is going and the opportunities for holding these assets that we're going to have. Again, ladies and gentlemen, things are moving very, very quickly. We're seeing regulations being discussed, and we're seeing a lot of institutional implementation within the crypto environment and these assets. Remember, we own the technology stack with these cryptos, these digital assets that we hold, like XRP, SHX. That is changing the financial system. They're absolutely, we're witnessing that. Greatest time to be alive. Excited to bring this information to you. Again, everyone just be very safe out there. The scammers and scams are starting to kick up because there's so much going on out there, and you have to be very, very careful. Be careful in your emails that you receive. I was reading something today with regards to email, and they're getting really, really good at spoofing the domains and making it look very, very realistic. When in doubt, go directly out to whatever you're trying to research on. Go out to the actual website itself. Don't click on links when all possible. Make sure you have 2FA established, so that everything is secure and from an authentication perspective as it can be. But with that, please don't forget to hit those likes, provide those comments out there. And if you're not subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe, as we're trying to build this community, because we are still early in this environment and things are picking up fast. And I don't want anyone to miss the greatest opportunity in the world to be invested in crypto. Okay, I am not a maxi in one coin. There are a few particular ones that I love, that I talk about all the time, but I'm a utility maxi, and that's what I like, because real world solve in the end are the tokens and the assets that will be left around for a very, very long time, especially after regulation hits. Now, with that, let's jump into Stronghold in the SHX news we have to drop tonight. You know, SHX is one of those tokens, it's really a sleeper. If you are brand new to this environment, you've never heard of Stronghold, I would go out there and do your own research. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. I am just sharing my journey with you as I walk through it. But SHX is one of those crypto projects that I believe is going to explode, and it's quietly building behind the scenes. Remember, if you're not familiar with it, Stronghold, or the SHX token, rides and utilizes the Stellar blockchain. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, SHX has now locked up 60 billion SHX tokens for 5 years. All right. This is very similar to what Ripple has done. All right. No surprises, unlocks, no maneuver levers, just smart contracts enforced by Sorbonne as they drop this. So what does this exactly mean? Let's talk about the numbers a little bit. Total supply of SHX is fixed at 100 billion tokens, you know, and now 60 billion of those are going to be locked up. That's 60% of the supply. You know, this leaves what, 40 billion in circulation, but not counting tokens that may have been lost or whatever, but possibility of 40 billion out there for other uses. This lockup really isn't a small gesture. You know, we're looking at a strategic move that is reshaping SHX's supply dynamics. You know, these mechanics are absolutely fascinating. You can go out there and you can look at it, but this strategic move really is a broad stroke and a big picture, you know, of what they are doing. Having these locked up for 5 years and they're basically set to expire monthly, similar to what Ripple does. But any unused tokens are going to be rolled back into the escrow for another 5 years, creating a perpetual ladder effect. This isn't just about locking up the tokens. It's really about controlling the supply, as we're stating here, with precision and ensuring predictability in a volatile crypto market. We know how volatile these assets can be. And right now, SHX is so cheap, man. It is really a sleeper. It's right at a penny. So if you are looking to diversify and to, dip your toes in another project that I believe has big things coming in the future, SHX is one of those, ladies and gentlemen. Why does this really matter? The lockup really screams long-term vision. They're building out a plan, stronghold, in the team. They're not playing with short-term speculations in the games that some of these other projects are. They're tying up 60% for 5 years. That's signaling, in my opinion, commitment, sustainability, and stability. And they've outlined this. You can go out, listen to the AMAs, look at the websites, and they're using, again, they ride on Stellar. So they're using the Soroban smart contract to add another layer there. These contracts are immutable and they're transparent, yet enforceable, again, on Stellar. XLM, another one of those tokens, projects, digital assets, technology that I absolutely love. It's a very exciting time to see this. They've been talking about this for several months. They started out back in December and they gave their forecast for 2025, and they are making that happen. One of the things we're missing with SHX is getting them out on more exchanges, and they're working on that as well. So if you're not familiar with SHX, I'd go out there and go ahead and check it out. Very exciting news. Now, look at this. This is a macro picture of what is going on in the world and where we are going. The crypto evolution is rapidly happening. I can feel it. I'm sure you can feel it. We can see it. Now, this dropped today. The U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, who is led by William Poulter, ordered Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prepare proposals to integrate cryptocurrency as an asset for single-family mortgage loan risk assessments. What's the catch here? Well, these assets must be evidenced, according to this, and stored on U.S. regulated centralized exchanges for traceability and compliance. But the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, is we're moving forward. They're literally going to make the United States the crypto capital of the world with all these different capabilities. It shows that borrowers basically now could use their crypto wealth without converting it into USD. What does that mean? We're dodging taxes and capital gains if it's not done away with completely for crypto. But, you got to be careful with this stuff, because you got to read the fine print. Again, how I read this is basically it's just a way to qualify, and they'll use it as part of your portfolio for your qualification, just like your business or your W-2 job, but you will have to lock up those assets. Now, would I do that at this given point in time to go buy a house? No, but the point here is short term, this impact is really huge because it's showing where we are going. This implementation, as it says in this directive here, is to happen as soon as reasonably practical. So this really could open up home ownership to more of us crypto holders, and also push folks to own crypto for another reason, because it's impacting their portfolio and their wealth as they go out and they are evaluated for loans. Very exciting. Long term, this might just start, be the start. It is going to pave the way for crypto to factor into other financial products. That's where this is going, and that's why it's exciting. I mean, think about car loans, personal loans, which we know we can leverage our crypto now with personal loans. This is aligning with Trump's vision to what? Make us the crypto capital of the world. So exciting. You know, we're going to keep an eye on this. I'll be curious to see a little bit more detail, but very exciting because crypto is moving fast and the environment is changing very, very quickly. With that, I called this out here. Now, remember, we've been talking about Hidden Road. So Hidden Road now, which we know is a key player in digital assets, and it is a prime brokerage, which is what? Now owned by Ripple, just joined the International Capital Market Association, you know, as a new member. Very exciting. The reason for this is, what does the ICMA do? What's it all about? Well, it was founded, I don't know, 40 years ago or so, but it's really the go-to trade body for global debt, capital, and securities markets. And they're based in Zurich with offices in London and Brussels. So what's their mission? To make these markets efficient and trustworthy. You know, these folks are out there establishing standards. The ICMA, they're in discussions with regulators like the FCA and the MAS. You know, they're shaping policies, and they publish data on bond trading and other aspects of the financial environment. Basically, they're the glue holding the debt market together. You know, they're fostering collaboration across multiple countries. Now, why do I bring this up? Why does this even matter? First off, it's going to give Hidden Road some serious credibility. It's also bridging traditional finance and crypto, becoming part of the ICMA. Again, the big picture, globally respected group of members. You know, we're talking about banks like Wells Fargo, Franklin Templeton. You know, it shows they're playing on the big scale, in the big leagues, if you would. This could open the doors to partnerships with banks and legitimize digital assets like XRP because of that tie within Hidden Road. You know, big picture. Plus, think about all the networks. This is a networking opportunity. They have access and discussions with over 600 ICMA members worldwide. You know, Hidden Road can connect with top financial players, speeding up the integration of crypto into global markets, specifically, possibly XRP. You know, and here's the other thing. They're going to be able to influence how digital assets fit into $100 trillion debt market. That's the big picture. It's, you know, networking 101. Ripple seems to be tied into and touching every entity in the financial infrastructure. And that's why my belief is they're leading the way as we watch this financial system be modernized and changed. Very exciting to see that, and just wanted to drop that out there and keep you up to date. I saw this one out here by Smoke. So how old do you think, you know, XRP is, or Ripple? Ripple is older than Bitcoin. He dropped this email out here, and we can read through some of this, but it talks about the first iteration of Ripple was conceived by Ryan Fugger back in 2004. Kind of crazy when I saw this, and when you think about it, we've been here for a while. And the reason I'm mentioning this is not so much because of the email, mentioning it because they've been working on this thing for a very, very long time. And when we talk about patience and waiting for the full implementation of utility to be synergized within the financial environment, you need patience, because it takes a long time, as we've been discussing in multiple videos, to get all of this changed and integrated. But pretty interesting out there. It's been around for a while and been being built and this system being reframed has been going on for quite a while, and we're watching the door slowly start to open as regulations. Remember, regulations are the key, in my opinion. When these regulations drop, it's going to set a foundation and tell all the players, all the institutions exactly how they can utilize this DLT technology. I mention this one because I always say we are here to make money. Okay. So Kathy Wood's ARK Invest dumps over 400,000 of its Circle shares worth $110 million on June 23rd. Okay. It's great to have as many assets as you can, but it's only as good as what it says it is on paper until you execute a trade and you take some profit and some capital off. As I've stated, and the theme is for me is I'm never going to sell all of my XRP, my HBAR, XLM, but I am selling some of it because I want to be able to live life as well, and I want to move on to other things. But we see here, very interestingly enough, she sold. And do you think she sold at a good time? Because this Circle stock is absolutely blowing up. And you know, it's down to 198 now. But when she sold on the 23rd, you know, it had closed at $263. I think she did okay. Very, very smart. And you know, that's how big money plays the game. Okay. We want to be able to pull profits, and we're building that theme of, as all the pieces come together, you want to have a laddered approach, have your exit strategy nailed down, as we've been talking about, have your system in place, know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and when you're going to do it. Because when things start to ramp up, and I am still shooting for Q4 of this year, you know, that's October, November, and December. I think all the puzzle pieces are coming together. You know, we've got July 14th. We got the ISO, you know, is supposed to kick off with FedWire. We'll see if they kick the can down the road again. But when the market starts to really become impacted and we start to see things explode, I promise you, you're going to want to be prepared. So now is the time for preparation. I can't say it enough. Have your system in place, have your exit strategies in place. And remember, it all depends on your age. If you're 20 to 30, maybe you're going to let it ride for a while longer. If you're older, if you're 50 or older, maybe you're going to pull some of that profit out and utilize it. But there's so many new capabilities, so many new options that are on the horizon for us. You know, we're going to be able to leverage and possibly buy houses with our crypto. We're going to be able to take loans. We're going to have staking that's coming with Flare, which I'm dropping that video after this one. But multiple things going on in this environment. Very exciting time to be alive. We just have to be smart. We have to be patient. We got to keep that mindset on positive lock and not be emotional with regards to the markets. We saw what happened the past weekend when, you know, the markets kind of took a shock and XRP was down at around $1.90 and now it's back up. You know, if you react emotionally, many people probably panic sold. All right. Don't want anyone to do that. Just have a concrete plan, be calm, take a breath, be relaxed, and you get all of that if you have a plan laid out. But with that, please be very safe out there. I see the scams and the scammers starting to really creep up and pop up with all kinds of new creative ways to try to steal your digital assets. So don't click on any links that you're unsure of. Be careful on the emails, especially phone calls. It's absolutely ridiculous, but we're all going to make it through this journey because I cannot wait to spend my time with many of you in the very, very near future on the most beautiful beaches of the world. With that, Zip is out.